What up, pimps? It's your boy Bannerlord Spam. Welcome back to another video on Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord, looking into the faction, clans and enemies. These have mostly been revealed at Gamescom, so we're able to look into more of the sub factions and the minor clans that you're going to be able to play as throughout the world of Calradia. Now, starting quickly off with the Kurzates, of course these guys are in the steppe. They're based off very Hunnic tribes. You can see all the clans here. Each have their own faction banner, and of course they'll all have slightly different variations to troops and how you play as them, but they'll all be based around the same thing. And I'd just like to give a shout out to your boy, the Kurgits, in there, doing their thing, repping the warband lore. That's all there. It goes back, it's trying to expand the lore a bit more. That there was more factions to this before the time, because it was set 200 years before warband, but the Kurgits obviously became the most powerful ones and took over in the end. You can also see who you're at war with, so it says all the wars as well down there. Next on, moving to the Azurai, we can see the leader, Unquid, your boy Unquid. What a cool guy. Now, I don't know if this is just an accident or this is intentional, but the Bano Quid and the Bano Karaz have the same banner. Maybe these guys are, you know, offshoots of each other. Who knows? But once again, you can see the war. These guys are at war with the Southern Empire. You don't really want to be doing that. Going on to the battalions, a very similar thing. They have a few less minor factions that you can play as. Jesus Christ, they're at war with the Valandians. And you can see the wolfskins there, which, you know, we'll have to go on a bit later, because these are most of the clans. I know, I think I accidentally called these minor factions earlier. And later we're going to go into the minor factions, which, as you can see, the wolfskins are one of them. So we'll head on to that in a little bit. The Northern Empire have the same. They look absolutely awesome. Repping my boy Lucan up here, of course. Or with the Western Empire, as you might expect. And of course the Southern Empire, we have all the factions here. And here's the Western Empire and the Sturgians. And finally the Valandians, of course, at war with the Brotherhood of the Woods, who we are going to move on to very, very soon. Talking about moving on, here we have some of the minor factions that have been announced. These are all the minor factions that are in the game, or at least that we know so far. Looking into it, we have the Company of the Golden Boar. The Cyclopedia pretty much shows everything. They have a nice little banner here, and these guys are companies from the Valandians, mostly local levies who don't adjust well to peacetime and opted for a life of constant warfare. They're probably the least disciplined and the most brigandish of Calradia's mercenaries, and are scourged to any bit of countryside where they are allowed to run loose. Still, like all mercenaries, they know that their future earnings depend on their reputations, so honour their contracts and practice their skills, particularly with the crossbow, to ensure that their employers received their money's worth. These guys, the members, are of course the lords, or well, probably not lords since it's a minor faction, but leaders of some of the detachments in the Company of the Golden Boar. These guys would be fun to play as if you want to be some outlandish mercenaries. Moving on to Brother of the Woods, who we saw at war with Valandia. These guys started as a Valandian peasant movement, hiding in the forest, robbing from the rich and giving to the poor, being a bit of a Robin Hood here. However, it counters the problem that any long-running rebel movement might. It needed to ensure the steady supply of food, and also ensure that none of the poor would dare to earn a bag of coin by informing on them. Slowly but surely, it began to make use of extortion, terror, corrupt deals with the local authorities to survive, becoming little different from any other organised bandit group in Calradia. So, everyone falls to corruption in the end. Moving on, we have the Embers of the Flame. Now, I do like this banner, it's pretty cool, but unfortunately these guys are at war with the whole of the Empire, but they don't have a description, so I can't really tell you anything about the Embers of the Flame, but they look to be probably some guys that used to be part of the Empire, maybe ran off and did their own thing. That's probably what happened there. The Hidden Hand are the mafia who dominate the rural areas, sometimes the towns and southern parts of the Empire. They thrive by making themselves useful to authorities, repressing unrest, silencing troublesome preachers, and robbing from merchants who compete with their patrons. Many of them go back and forth between respectable life in the towns and a criminal life in the countryside, spending 2 or 3 months a year as a brigand and enforcer, and rest as a trader in stolen goods, knowing full well that no one will bother them. These guys are pretty tough, I've got to feel. Yeah, so they're parts of the Empire. They look very similar to the Embers of the Flame, so I'm guessing their armor and things are very similar. So I'm guessing these guys are definitely parts of the Empire, and they're tough guys that you kind of want to watch out for. No one's going to really mess with these guys. This will be fun to play as, I think. Moving on, we have the Legions of the Betrayed. The last legion was created after the Emperor Irenicus exacted his reforms, abolishing the last of the Empire's standing armies in favour of the Archon's private retinues that were significantly cheaper and better at controlling territory. The legion is made up of men who devastated this change. They loved the old army, its standards and its unit history in the camp life, and they blame the new system for destroying the Empire, but an army does not hold together together unless it's paid regularly, and they take contracts from imperial and foreign lords without. These guys are mercenaries, but they are mercenaries of the old ways. They like tradition. They were part of the empire but decided that it was not for them, the new system. The new split empire was nothing, you know. They were the OG guys. They're pretty hip, you know. They were kind of hipsters. They liked the old stuff, and they weren't a fan of what's come next. And finally, we have the Wolfskin minor faction. They're heirs to a long tradition in the Battanian lands where great warriors went wildling for part of their youth, earning the ways of the woods and how to suffer hardship. So long as a Wolfskin wears no sewn clothes, eats no cooked food, and sleeps under no roof, he is immune to the laws of men. In fact, the modern Wolfskins tend to be the sons of wealthy families taking a few years to indulge their feral sides, robbing travellers and living viciously, and not necessarily hewing the old code. These guys are going to be interesting. They are at war with the Battanians, they are rogues, they live in the forests, you know, they do not conform to the laws of other people. They think that luxuries are a burden to you. To be a proper man, to be a proper warrior, you must live off the land. I think these guys are going to utilize a lot of guerrilla warfare. All in all, I just can't wait to use all of these minor factions. They're all going to be so interesting and have different playstyles, and especially compared to the main factions, because we never had this in Warband. You have the main factions and they have their different playstyles, but it was just the main factions. Now if we have these minor factions within the main factions that each have their own sub playstyles, it's just going to add so much more dynamic and variety of gameplay to Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord. But that's it for the factions and the clans that you can play as in Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you join my Discord, although it might be down for maintenance at the moment because I've taken a day to sort a few things out. But nonetheless, if you guys want to, it's completely optional. Please go and support me on Patreon. It is very, very much welcomed. But thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy my content. If you do, subscribe and like the video. But until then, I will see you in the next one.